Hey, everybody,
Okay.
welcome back to another episode of Behind the Boom podcast with your host, Amber Alrifai. This is for the ladies in the house. I have such an exciting guest on here for you. She is a fat loss expert, high performance coach, best-selling author, and speaker. She has been on over a dozen magazine covers. Forbes recognizes her as one of the top health and wellness influencers in the world. You may know her from her top rated podcast, Midlife Conversations. Guys, I have Natalie Jill in the house, also known as Natalie Jill Fit. I hope that was a big enough intro for you because it is so
Oh,
exciting to have you on here today.
so happy to be here talking.
Hey guys, it's your host, Amber Alrifai, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Boom podcast.
Like a boom, 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 boom.
Such an incredible time to have somebody like you, in your space and in your niche of the fitness and health and well-being, especially how people get into like New Year's resolutions.
hmm
I kind of feel like we should kibosh the New Year's resolutions, and I'm always up for a 30-day challenge. Get restart, refresh every 30 days of what can I do to get better. But for anybody who hasn't come across your incredible fitness journey, can we just quickly kind of go back to where this all started, even back before like the 7-day jumpstart that was kind of the bang.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, it's so interesting because my story really began a long, long, long time ago. I mean, I think about just how I was in my early 20s, even working in corporate America. I was always the problem solver. You give me a problem, I like to figure out the solution. And I tend to walk through problems publicly. So whatever I'm walking through, I share. If you follow my social at all, I know you do. You probably see literally share everything. Like I just
You rip the
whatever I'm
makeup
walking
off
through,
and
I share
everything.
it
I love it.
and then I share what I learned from it. And that's just part of my desire to connect as a human, I guess. I don't know. And I like helping. So my journey with the fitness and fat loss really started 17 years ago. I was always somebody who was into working out and eating healthy, but 17 years ago I had my daughter, and for the first time in my life really felt out of control. I went through what a lot of people do as a new mom. I had postpartum depression. But this was back in 2007 when the housing market had changed, the stock market had changed. I was a new single mom and I was
Going
also losing my house. So I had a lot, like I had a whole collision of circumstances happening where I felt like not myself. I felt out of control. I felt overweight. I felt depressed. I felt sad. I was broke. I had like all the circumstances happening. And instead of me being able to go help everybody else, I was really in my own crap and my own circumstances and really stuck there. And it was through those moments and my personal rock bottom and navigating a divorce and being a single mom and all the things happening to me that I made a conscious decision to decide to pivot things. And I didn't know what that was going to look like, but I knew I had to start taking control and making new decisions. And that started with focusing on my body and like, okay, well, I can't control what I look like right now or feel like, but I can control what I'm eating. I can't control that don't like the way I look, but I can start moving. I don't like how I feel, but I can start focusing on things that make me feel good. So it was like these little mini shifts that started to change for me. And in that decision to change, I declared it at the time on Facebook. I didn't have Instagram yet, and Facebook was newer, but I shared on Facebook like, "Hey, I don't like where I'm at. I'm going to change, and I'm going to share here what I'm eating for my own accountability. This is what I'm doing. Follow along." And this is literally what I still do 17 years later. Like whatever I'm walking through, I share. Like I continue to share what I'm walking through. And when women connect and they're into that journey with me, I continue to help there. So 7-day jumpstart was my original program. It's been modified and redone 5 times now. It's a best-selling book in stores. It's now a live challenge that I do. It's continued to evolve, but it was that original method that picked me up out of the dumps, got me this initial win, which I believe anytime we're working on a new goal or anything, we need that initial win. And that's how it started.
Right. I mean, you have such an incredible journey from way back when, because I know you gained a lot of weight after you had your daughter. So
Mhm.
that, that's just enough that so many women, kind of go through, and they go through the postpartum depression. I had gestational diabetes and gained
Yep.
70 pounds at my son. I was like, how am I going to lose this? Like, I've
Right.
never had to deal with weight loss or a weight issue, my entire life. What would you say to somebody who wants to make that pivot or change, but they feel stuck, and they'll also blame, time. I don't have time. I'm a
Of
busy mom, or
course.
busy doing this. So it's always time is always like our biggest
Yeah.
hurdle, I guess you could say.
So let me give you some empathy and love first, if you're listening and
Yeah.
that's you. And then I'm going to give you a little tough love. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little both. So the empathy of, and love is I hear you. It's real. It sucks. It's frustrating. And it just sucks. And I want to give you a big hug. That's the empathy in me. It does suck. The tough love is what the frick are you going to do about it? Like literally, you have a choice. You can either feel sorry for yourself and
Yeah.
let everyone feel sorry for you and not make a change, or you can make a decision that I'm going to fix this. And it really comes down to that. And I say that with tough love, with the understanding that people might not like my answer there, but it is the truth. And you could be in the worst circumstance possible. And believe me, I have had definitely my share of bad circumstances continually. Like I'm attracted to them. They attract to me. I don't know. And I think it's to teach me to walk through a lot of this. And so what I'm going to say is your willingness to be comfortable has to change, because if we are comfortable, whatever we're most comfortable at, we're going to kind of remain at. So if you don't like the way you look, feel, any of that, there's some kind of comfort overweighing that. Like, well, but it doesn't feel comfortable to change. It doesn't feel comfortable to eat different. It doesn't feel comfortable to move. So your pain is not bad enough yet. When you can actually get to a point of this is not me anymore, I don't like my life like this, that's your turning point, and you can make a decision to change.
I feel like that's the turning point in every aspect of your life, whether it's your personal, it's your weight loss, your business. It's not until you hit almost like rock bottom, shit hits the fan, something crazy has to happen for like a light bulb moment to go off. And then that's when you kind of break through and
Yeah.
you're getting closer to like reaching that new level of any area, right? Um,
So Amber, the
yeah,
thing is, it doesn't have to get to that. Like yes, that is human
right.
nature, but you can make a conscious decision to say, no, I hear what you're saying, and I don't want it to get to that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's huge. And now that we're looking into a new year and people like to, have new goals and resolutions or whatever you want to call it. But it can just be little small, small baby steps, right? That they can take. Like, what's one new habit that they can start implementing today to move them closer? Maybe in 30 days, that new habit is, now just a part of them, and now they can add in another new habit. And over the course of 90
Mhm.
days, all of a sudden they went from eating, crappy processed foods to adding more nutrients and things like that, or introducing meditation into their morning routines,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I think people absolutely fall in love with following you because you are so real and raw. And there's so many influencers out there that don't really want to show behind the scenes. Like, I was
Mhm.
watching you last night, you're like ripping off your eyelashes. I'm like, fuck, she's so real, like, and people just, want to just show like the prettiness of everything. And like you said, you've built this entire empire of just walking people through all of the phases and stages in your life, which has helped you just remain so authentic.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's like, okay, you know what, I had enough, I'm going to go through a journey, to encourage them to get out there and share it? And that's just an accountability partner. Like, let the screen or your social media
Yeah.
be your own accountability partner to go all in on yourself,
So,
right?
it's really wild because I don't know that I even think of it that way. To me, life is easier if I just tell the truth. So, like, it's
Right.
a lot harder to fake it all, right? So, if I'm just going
Yeah.
to try to fake being this perfect person all the time, that's a lot harder. Because now, like, what happens when someone sees me without makeup? What happens when they catch me yelling at my husband? What happens with, that's real life.
Real.
So,
Yeah.
I just think, like, it's just easier to tell the truth. Like to me, it's just easy. I can keep track a lot easier. I'm just who I
Yeah.
am. And I like nice lights and I like makeup and I like getting my hair done and I like good, I like a nice blur on the video editing if there's an option for that. Like I'm a girl. I love all that. And I'm still going to show who I really am too. There's a happy blend to it. So I show both. And to me, the hardest thing for women is the comparison with ourselves. Like we're so hard on
Right.
ourselves. And if we're living up to this, I have to be perfect, I have to look perfect, that's a very sad way to live. I'm not saying don't do the cosmetic surgery or don't do the, but whatever. I do things. I don't care.
Yeah.
But also get comfortable with who you actually really are too. There's a fine line. And so I share both of it. And I can tell you women really appreciate when I share that stuff because I don't want women to feel bad about themselves. I don't want them
Right.
to ever look at me and compare and think that they're
Mhm.
not enough. So to me, I will show them my dark circles or my cellulite or whatever because I want them to understand that we're all in this together. I'm human too. I'm just a really good magician with makeup sometimes.
Yeah. And whatever you're doing, whatever your diet is, because you're putting like 20, 30-year-olds to shame with your ripped abs, and you couldn't have been born with that. So what are some of the just, simple steps or things that, let's say if I never worked out a
Yeah,
day in my life, what are some simple things that I could start doing to get me going, better in that track to
totally.
the amazing
Yeah.
shape?
Okay. So number one, make a decision. And that
Yeah.
sounds really, don't skip over that, because like if we say I'm too old or it's too late or this isn't going to work for me or my genetics, then we've made the wrong decision. But make a
Right.
decision that you're going to be your best, most fit self. Like just decide, or whatever it is that you want, decide that that's what you're going for. Because we're making decisions all day long. Like you're making decisions to not be your best self or to be your best self. Like number one, make a decision. Number two, focus on addition versus all the things that are wrong. So what I see a lot of women do wrong is like, oh, I can't eat this and I can't eat carbs and I can't eat sugar and I can't eat dairy and I can't eat, like, it's like all the I can'ts, right? That's not very rewarding. Instead, I'm like, what are all the things I need to add in the day? What do I get to add in? Well, I get to add in more water. I get to add in more movement. I get to add in more protein. I get to add in more vegetables. I get to add in more healthy fats. I get to add in my supplements. I get to add in my red light. Like, I think like, what do I add in versus like focusing on what can I do? Like, that's the next thing. And then, movement and starting from where you are. So I am certainly not as strong or as fit as I was 10 years ago. Like there's no
Right.
question. I used to knock out on video. Like I'd be like 50 pull-up queen, like doing, I can do like two right now, two.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and I'm, as long as I can do those two, I feel good. Like I'm like, okay, as long as I can lift my own body weight, I'm good. Now, can I decide to get stronger? Sure, I can. But I don't go to this comparison of like, oh, I used to be able to do this. Now I can't. So I'm just not going to do them anymore. I don't do that. So start from where you are with what you can
Yeah.
do and progress from there and challenge yourself there and stop comparing to filters and fake and stop comparing to younger versions of you. Like just stop. Like go find, there's plenty of people on social media you can find that are real. Like go
Yeah.
find those people and follow those. I unfollow any account, anybody that makes me feel bad about myself. And I
Yeah.
hope if I ever make someone feel bad about themselves, they should unfollow me because I don't want that in your world.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. I got into Orange Theory after having my two kids finally, and the youngest is 5. So I literally spent 5 years of my life not working out and feeling like a cloud over my head. I'm like, oh my God, I would have so much more energy if I got back in. And I used to love working out prior to my kids, but they
Yeah.
were like IVF kids and both C-sections. And I just babied the whole pregnancy because it took me forever to
Yeah.
have them. Right. And then after that, I thought, oh my God, I got to get back into it. Once I did, it was more of like the mindset and the how I felt in my brain more so than my body. I was like, I can't believe
It's
I've been going
amazing.
this long. I felt like I've been sleeping, for
Yeah.
X amount of years, and it just wakes you up. And then I got addicted to Orange Theory, and I was like, oh my God, I turned 40. This is like the best shape,
Hmm.
best energy I've ever had in my life, better than my 30s. Then I moved a table and got 2 herniated discs,
Mm.
and I feel like that it put me, I didn't really care about the body, but it was again back to the brain. It put me into this almost depression of like,
Oh yeah.
I'm really, really down on myself because I can't get out and break a sweat. What can I
Yeah.
do? And then I went through physical therapy, and he was like, oh, you could do a spin class. I'm like, no, I've never done that. Because it's low impact, but it
Hmm.
doesn't put the pressure like running or jogging would do. And you break that sweat and it's fun. So I do think that there's something out there for everybody where somebody might look
Yeah.
and say, well, I can't do that. I have back pain or joint pain, or I'm too overweight for this, or I can't do that. There's something out there for everybody to be able to just get
Totally.
out and move, right? How
Yeah,
important,
I've had so many injuries in my like I
right?
think of my 40s and my late 40s. In my late 40s, I tore my bicep, I ruptured a
Yeah.
disc. So I had the majority of my injuries in my late 40s. So I definitely had an identity shift. Like I was like, "Oh my God, I'm the one that I built my social media doing pull-ups upside down on the rings, like doing
Right.
tricks. Like that's how I who I was. That was like my identity. So when I tore my bicep, like that was the like I lost my supination in my hand. Like I can't even handwrite with a pen or pencil anymore. Like I lost that ability. So I cannot physically do a chin up. I can do a pull up now, but it was a whole retraining. So when I walked through it, like I went through all those beliefs and stories too. Like I didn't know who I was anymore. I'm like, this is my identity. Like who am I? So I had to really think, well, why is this happening to me? Who am I really? And I had to do some deep work there and go, okay, this happened, it's a gift. Like what do I need to learn from it? And when women tell me things like I can't do this because of my knee or my elbow, I'm like, dude, like seriously, let me show you my bicep tear. Like literally it was up in my shoulder. So I understand, I have compassion, and I'm just telling you there's always workarounds.
There's always something you can do. I want to make a little bit of a shift here because when you mentioned about your workouts and on your exercises and all of those that you were doing was your identity back, as you were building up Natalie Jill Fitness. For anybody who's listening, who is an up and coming entrepreneur, whether they're in, coaching, network marketing,
Yeah.
I like to really focus in on the importance of them developing their personal brand.
Oh yeah.
And can we kind of go in there a little bit of the difference between Natalie Jill versus Natalie Jill Fitness? Because I definitely feel, because you can skyrocket this brand, but then how important do you feel it is for you to
Yeah.
hone in on your personal brand as well?
So I've even merged Natalie Jill Fitness more. Like now it's Midlife Conversations. So
Right.
Midlife Conversations is really the brand I talk about, but I've never separated my name from anything. And the reason is, and I've done network marketing, I've done all the things, but it's you that people will follow and like. Now, I would give different advice. It depends on who I'm talking to, because if I'm talking to somebody who owns a 7 to 8 figure business or trying to scale to 9 or 10 figures, and they want to sell and having a huge exit, I don't know that your name is the right thing, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know that you want to build your whole business in your name. You can't sell your business then. Or if you do, you're selling your whole identity. But I do think there's an importance in doing both, honestly. Like, you can have this cool brand, but you still don't want to let go who you are and what you're creating. When people in network marketing say they are an entrepreneur and they own their own business, they really don't. You're working for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You might have more
You can
freedom.
take it away. Yeah.
And I'm all about now. I think network marketing is amazing for so many reasons, but you're fooling yourself if you think that's your business. If it's your business, it doesn't go away when they change a comp plan or when they change the rules. If
Yeah.
it's your business, you own that list. If it's your business, you can reach people always. We just watched what happened with Beachbody. And they're not
Yeah.
the first, and it's going to happen with more. So it is critical that you have your own name and your business, and you are not just only working to build somebody else or somebody else's. If that's who you are. Now, there's nothing wrong with just working for somebody. Like, I got, like, be in corporate, be like, that's not everyone
Yeah.
wants to be a business owner. But if you have that entrepreneurship in your blood, you're a business owner, you're a fool not to build it in your own name too.
Yeah, 100%. The network marketing coaches program, if you have a program or a product, it's a little different than having like a company, where we've
Yeah.
established like an agency. My husband always says, well, you want to kind of make it like Apple. Apple doesn't just put the name in front. They're
Mhm.
looking at Apple as the brand, right? But if you are offering a product or service, you're right. You are the brand. People are going
Mhm.
to buy from you. It's a whole like, know, and trust factor. So
That's
they're
right.
coming to Natalie, right? Because you built out this social presence. They're loving watching you follow. As soon as I love watching you, I'm so much more tuned into what does she offer? What does she got going on here? And I'm
Right.
not going to question it about, oh, that program, that could work for me. And then, they would dive into your product.
Yeah. I can tell you, I've been with Isogenics for years. Like,
Right.
nobody really knows that because I don't lead with that. And I love
Yeah.
so many of their products, and I've helped a lot of people with their products. Like, it's not the only product I use, but it's the only network marketing company I aligned with.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that structure. But I never really made anyone happy in my upline because they wanted me to be all Isogenics, and that was never going to be me. I was very clear that's not who I am. And I don't ever want to feel, I never wanted to also feel at mercy of products changing, or like, what if if I like this product now, but I don't like it later? Like, I didn't want that. And I have always promised my audience that I will always share real time what I love, what I'm using, the real thing that I'm doing. And if that changes, I want that freedom to be able to change that too.
Yeah, yeah, I agree 100%. I want to also just do a little bit of a pivot in the conversation. I mean, I feel like we jump all around, but I keep this at like 30 minutes, give you guys all kinds. Anybody who's driving takes them 30 minutes to get somewhere, roughly, depending on where we
Mhm.
live, right? I want to quickly go into the power of pivoting. And I know back when you were building your brand and you were in corporate America in the beginning, right? And
Yes, I was.
when you were kind of losing everything, um, and then you went through a divorce, you were a single mom. At what point do you feel like you can take that? I feel like you need to have a lot of courage, like to take that pivot. If somebody is miserable in their 9 to 5 job, I do a lot of content on this to try to just give people that push or the courage that they need to just say, it's
Yeah.
okay to like let go, because you have this passion or drive to go all in on something else,
Yeah,
even though you don't really know what's over on this side, especially in the entrepreneur
totally.
world. I don't know if I jump in over here, am I going to make $1 million? Or if I jump in over here, am I going to make nothing and lose
Yeah.
everything? Right?
Well, I
What would
have compassion that it's scary. I get it. I was there too.
yeah,
And obviously you're messing with your income, your lifestyle. Like, sometimes it's very scary. Like, people are like, I don't know how to put food on my table if I don't figure this out. So it is scary, but I want to share, if you have a big bucket of water. Just picture like a big bucket of water. And I want to keep putting new water in there. There's no place for that new water to go until we get rid of that old water. Like if you just, it would just keep overflowing. So you really can't do both. You can't like be in your corporate job doing that and try to like do this other thing. It doesn't work that way. You're going to not be able to be focused, not be able to be detailed. You're going to have a problem there. So my advice on that is you got to get really real with yourself on what do you actually want and what are you called to do. And you got to think through that first. And as scary as it is, if you are working in your gifts and in your calling and what you are meant to do on this planet, I believe God provides for you. I just do. If you're generous with your gifts and you're doing that, that is the way it works. And only you know what that is. And people get really stressed, like, well, I don't know what my purpose is. You're thinking too hard about this. What do you like to do and what are people resonating with? Like for me, I'm a teacher. Period. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher of fat loss or nutrition or mindset or there's midlife conversations, but really what I'm doing is I'm taking complicated information and I'm simplifying it, right? So that's my unique ability, teacher, creator. So you think like, what is your unique thing? Now, do I want to teach what I actually think will help women, or do I want to teach because corporate's telling me to teach? That's kind of
Right. That's the difference.
where I sort of had to, and I felt more ethical doing it the way that I'm doing it. So I took
Right.
a risk and I knew it was scary, but I never regretted it. Not once, like not once. I mean, it worked out. So, plan for it. I can tell you just being practical, like plan for it, like really think through how much money do I need to save for 2 months or 3 months or whatever you need as your safety net that you're like, I'm going to do this, like plan for it and then make
Yeah.
that change.
Instead of just walking in and saying, I'm out here, I'm done, and then
Yeah.
going with zero
Don't
dollars in
react
your
on
bank account.
emotion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really smart way of looking at it. You can create a 90-day plan and
Mhm.
then go ahead and build off of that. How important do you think mindset is in making that shift? Because you can have the fitness and the body and feeling great, and you can have the money, but what about up here, this brain of,
Mindset's everything.
right?
Mindset is literally
Yeah.
everything. And I spend so much money on coaching for myself. That is where a lot of women spend lots of money on shoes and I spend it on coaching. I
Yeah.
have a lot of coaches and I hire coaches continually for mindset. I am a student of that. And I don't have one friend, not one that doesn't live in that space. I don't want any friends that will take me out of that. I don't join any mastermind where I feel like I'm the smartest in the room. I want to be the dumbest in the room. I want to be
Yeah.
leveled up 24/7 and surround myself with that. And I keep myself in a box around that. I don't let people in my world that affect that. I have to because I can't better serve my audience. I can't be better in this world. I can't do like literally God's work for me if I
Mm.
do not keep myself in that place. So it is a critical thing that I have to be always aware of my mindset. Just to give you like a quick example, this has
Yeah,
nothing to do with
please do.
business. I
Yeah.
lived in California the last 20 years. I love San Diego. It's where I lived. And we moved to Scottsdale, Arizona. And I was in this really heavy story of I hate Scottsdale, like for a year. I mean, like heavy, like I hate it. I made a
Like
mistake.
just the heat or
Just everything. I miss the ocean. I miss
right.
the beach. I miss the weather. I like all the things. And even though I had met a lot of friends here and did a lot of things, but it was starting to affect my life and my marriage, like where I'm like in this self beat up that I made this decision, miserable with my life. You
Right.
just all of this. And I knew that it's a mindset thing. Like I have some weird belief set here that I've got to fix. And I was really stuck in the loop. So I went to my coach, one of my coaches, and I paid an absurd amount of money for one session to
Probably
get
changed your
me
life.
freaking out of this. And it did. And it
Yeah.
did. Like we had a 90-minute conversation and I looked at it completely different now. It doesn't mean I don't love San Diego more or whatever, but the story in my brain stopped and that allows me to be free to do other things and move past that. So this is the world I live in. I believe in coaches like you would not. I mean, like if you want help with fat loss, like why wouldn't you come to me? Like I'm just being real. Like I'm
Yeah.
53 years old. I'm in midlife. This is my expertise. This is what I'm good at. Why would you not cut the line and go to the person that knows? So that's how I look at it with things. And I do the same thing. I invest in coaching for the same reasons.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like it's been such a game changer in every aspect, whether it's just business, I'm hiring, growth, am I
Yeah.
putting too much here, too much there? I'm like, how am I supposed to know? I need help.
Yeah.
I need a coach. And it's been such a pivotal way in so many different aspects of my personal life and of my business life that if I didn't invest in those places, and you're right, people will invest in like the shoes and the material things.
Hmm.
But if you just invest in yourself, and if you can't
That's right.
afford, the tens of thousands of dollars that way, then get the book that the best people are
Yeah.
teaching you. Go and get the book, right? And it's at least going to get you a starting point. Or if you can get yourself in, the doors of masterminds and places that are going to help you level up. I think also those places can either bring you up or bring you down. I feel like a little bit of a mix when you go.
You gotta go with how the right group. But I will say,
Yeah,
when you just said like if you can't afford, let me just speak into that for a minute.
yeah,
That is the worst line. Like, first of all, if you have a story going on, not you, but anyone
yeah,
listening, if you have a story like I can't afford, you have a serious problem with that right there. Like, you stop saying that, period.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
working towards, I'm getting better at, I'm creating a life that, like, that language has to change. Every time you say I can't afford, you're bringing yourself down a notch and you're staying in that cycle. But in speaking of that, I understand sometimes you obviously do have to pay your bills first and the other things and all that. So, like you said, there's always free stuff. There's always podcasts. There's always audibles for inexpensive. There's always books. You can always follow on social media. There's always places to learn. But when you are leveling up a skill set, I coach on two things. I coach with fat loss and thriving in midlife for women. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And then I happen to coach on webinar and sales. That's what I do. That's like a whole different life of mine that I coach on. And I'm not the
Right.
cheapest for either of them, period. And I
Yeah.
won't be. And when
No,
people ask me my prices, my question back to them is typically going to be, what are you going to pay attention? Because we all have that number too. Like you do, Amber, I do. Like, what do you have to pay attention? And when
yeah,
you think you can't afford something, you got to really think about what's going to create the change in me. Where is it going to sting enough that I'm going to change and learn?
that's true. And if you do invest enough where you're almost like, oh, I had to max out a credit card to put that one on there,
Mhm.
you might just take that a little
That's
bit
right.
more seriously than your free podcast on your drive to work, right?
1000%. Yes. And that's
Uh,
why I paid an
yeah.
absurd amount for a mindset phone call
Yeah, yeah,
recently.
and because the value that you are able to give to somebody and the change that they can do in their life for that. So why should they get that for free?
That's right.
That's just pushing them to be the next version of themselves. I'm 100% game on coaching on all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, I feel like I could just go on and on. I mean, that's why you're a speaker and you're
Oh,
everywhere. I've seen you on stage. I met you last year and it was fantastic. And I got to meet and have conversations with you.
thank
And
you.
each time I'm like, I just love a little bit more of her, a little bit more.
Thanks, Amber.
And I'm always watching you on social media. So where can people find you to go and get their instant tips besides your
Oh my
incredible
gosh.
podcast,
Okay.
right?
So let me give you, is it okay for I can share a link where
Make
I
a
can actually
list.
give you like some free things. Like if you
Yeah,
go to,
share it all.
if you're interested in like leveling up your life and midlife, go to, ageoptimizer.com. And I have a free guide there on like all the things that I do to look, feel, be good at 53. And then I also have a flat belly guide. So it's theflatbellyguide.com. You can go there. And then if you want to just listen to me or watch on social media, I'm at Natalie Jill Fit. And then YouTube is Natalie Jill Fitness. And my podcast is called Midlife Conversations.
You guys will get a ton of value. You'll be hooked and you can thank me later. And if you have been inspired by this episode, by listening to our conversations, make sure that you do hit that subscribe button, leave a review. I want to make sure that you're sharing this with people that need to hear it. We dived in to a lot of different areas and topics, whether it's your personal life, your fitness, your mindset, your business. And I'm sure that you have a friend that needs to hear it as well. Make sure that they're connecting with Natalie. And until next time, you guys keep hustling, growing, and pushing forward because your boom moment is just around the corner. This is your host, Amber Alrifai, and we'll see you next week, bringing to you every single week incredible, influential people around this earth and this planet that is just going to help you drive the needle forward, whether it's in your business or your personal life. So I will see you next week on Behind the Boom. Bye.